Okay, so what's up guys, I'm Pixel Sammy, and in this particular video, I hope you guys like this particular intro which I showed before. So I shot that particular intro with the 510 Wimble 2 and my smartphone. Now my smartphone is not a very good smartphone, so I can just relate to all the guys who don't have a good smartphone but still want to make videos. So this is for them, and this is for all the other people also who want to make good smartphone videos. So in this particular video, we're going to show some amazing ways, some transitions and effects which you can use in your mobile footages to make them look way more cinematic. And I'm going to use this particular mobile phone with this Fivetech Wimble 2 gimbal. Now Fivetech did send me out this gimbal for a review, so this is my review as well as a tutorial for you guys to how to make your mobile footages look way more cinematic and look way better. So first of all, before all the other things, shout out to Fivetech for sending me this particular gimbal for a review. Now I have been trying to get the AK4000 for a review purpose because I want to review it against the Roniness, because I feel for this price the AK4000 stands up really well, and I want to make a detailed tutorial on that and a detailed review video and comparison video of that as well. So Fivetech, if you guys are watching this, then please send me out one of your AK4000s for me to compare with the Roniness and show it to my audience, because some of my audience really are interested in that particular subject. So please, if you guys can, please. So coming back to the main tutorial, so this particular gimbal is a very good gimbal for its price. It is like around 90 bucks, I guess. So it is like the cheapest ones in the market, and the quality of this gimbal is really good for its price. Now starting with the review, I'm not going to say all the things which is there on paper, like it has this much this much that. Rather, I'm going to show all the practical ways of using this gimbal, and I'm going to just give my verdict or my review of how this gimbal performs in all those other circumstances. And just doing the review, I will also tell you guys how to make the transitions and some cinematic movements with your gimbal and smartphone to make them look way more cinematic. So the first thing which you are going to show is fast movement video or hyperlapsing. Hyperlapsing is one of the most efficient ways in travel videos, and I am sure most of you have seen hyperlapses in most of the famous travel videos by other YouTubers and filmmakers. Now hyperlapsing is very tough to make because it takes a lot of time to make a hyperlapse, especially with a camera. And most of the filmmakers, what they do is basically use a gimbal and just simply move around the object or the subject and then speed it up and add some motion blurs. And it is very efficient. And the other way to make the hyperlapse is clicking one picture, moving one step forward, clicking another picture, then moving one step forward and clicking another picture. This takes a lot of time. But in this particular video, I'm going to show you guys how to make an hyperlapse. But in this particular video, what you guys need to know is making hyperlapses with phones is way more simpler than anything else, because phones are very lightweight compared to DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. The gimbal itself is very lightweight. This is what you need to know. The gimbal is very lightweight. This weighs around, which is there on the screen, this weighs around this much. So with the phone, it is very lightweight, and it is very easy for you guys to actually move around the subject or move forward to make an hyperlapse. And then after you shot the hyperlapse, this is how this footage looks. As you can see, this is the footage with the Fivetech Wimble 2 and my smartphone. My smartphone is OnePlus 6, so I had to make some minor adjustments to the colors, but I did not do anything with the motion. So this is how it looks with the Fivetech Wimble 2 and the smartphone, and this is how it looks without the gimbal. So as you can see, the Fivetech one is way more stable than the other one. And my verdict is that for a gimbal which is this much cheap, this is a very good gimbal for you guys to purchase to get some stable footages and make some very cool hyperlapses. Now one bonus thing which you guys need to know is, once you guys shot the hyperlapse, drop it on your After Effects or Premiere Pro or in Final Cut Pro, and then just simply add some motion blurs to it. If you want to add the stabilization, add the stabilization and then add some motion blurs to it, and that will make the video way more seamless and it will make it way more smoother. So there goes the first trick, which is hyperlapsing. The second trick which you guys need to know is frame blocking transition. Now you guys will know what frame blocking transition is. It is one of the best transitions which is there on the market, and most of the users already may use this target transitions, and you guys can do this transition in your phones as well. Now doing this transition, I'm going to show how this gimbal works in parallax mode. Parallax mode is a mode where the gimbal moves from left to right in this particular fashion. So I'm going to just use this gimbal to show you guys how good it is for parallaxing. Moreover, in this particular video, I'm going to show you guys how to use this parallaxing with frame blocking transition to make the frame blocking transition happen. So I'm going to just parallax around the tree, and as you can see, my friend is moving right behind that tree, and I'm going to keep the tree as a subject, and then I'm going to just parallax using the gimbal. So parallaxing is easier in gimbals because left to right motions can be a little bit shaky also. So when you parallax, this is how this footage looks, and it looks really stable because it's on a gimbal, so it looks really stable. So that is how you do parallaxing, and I can tell it is very good in parallaxing as well. So what you guys need to do with this particular footage in post is that just drop this post, just simply add a masking to this post. At the starting, add the masking, keyframe the masking, update the masking, and then just seamlessly move to the next footage. And you can add some motion blurs as well, because that will add some added flares to your footage. So that goes the second trick, and that also shows how good this gimbal is for parallaxing. Now I want to tell you guys about the third trick as well. So the third trick is getting those lower angle shots. Lower angle shots is very easy if you guys bend down and then shoot it with your camera. But when you guys bend down and just move up, because of your body weight, there can be some shakes in your videos, especially if you have a camera which is in your smartphone. So we can do this by using this gimbal as well. Now shooting this particular effect with your gimbal is extremely easier because of the high length, because of the long length of this particular gimbal. Now as you can see, this is a gimbal. Now if I move it like this, just like this, then the phone will be around in this position. So once you turn it on and it will be on this position, then you can seamlessly just move the mobile phone on the upward direction because of this handle, which is very long. More of this tripod leg, when you just do it this way, just an extension of the whole handle, which when you do it like this and move the gimbal on the upward direction, it will seamlessly get a upper lower angle shot of your video, and that is way easier to do instead of bending down and then shooting the footage and then getting up once again. So there goes the third trick, which is getting those lower angle shots with this gimbal. Now one more trick which you guys want to know is how to get those dreamy shots in your footages. Dreamy shots are pretty easy because it depends on the highlights. Now I have used those lower angle shots for this particular footage, which I just told you guys a while ago. So getting those lower angle shots is way easier. So now what you guys need to do is, after you drop those footages onto your timeline, copy those footages on top of each other and then add a Luma key to the top layer. After we add the Luma key to the top layer, as you can see, just choose the highlights, choose only the highlights, and then go to the FS panel of both Final Cut Pro and for Premiere Pro. Drag in Gaussian blur onto the clip, onto the layer where you add the Luma key effect, and then just increase the Gaussian value, and then after that you can see a little bit of dreamy diffused highlights effect in your footages, and this can actually make your footages look way more cinematic and way more dreamy than most of the footages. So this is one trick which you guys want to know, and this is one trick which you can absolutely use for free, and it's pretty easy to make. So there goes this trick, which is diffused highlights. Now the fourth trick is exclusive to this particular gimbal, because this gimbal can detach itself to a selfie stick. It can transform itself to a selfie stick, which means that it can length out a little bit longer. But I know that most of my audience is not interested in selfies, right? But you can do one more thing with this particular gimbal. As it is a gimbal, which means it will be stable, and as it can transform into a selfie stick, you can still use the gimbal mode in the selfie stick mode as well. So in the selfie stick mode, you can get those higher angle shots which you cannot get with any other gimbals, because most of the gimbals don't transform into a selfie stick, right? But this gimbal does. As it transforms into a selfie stick, you can get those higher angle shots, and you can use some transitions as well if you guys want to. But those higher angle shots are what most of the users don't do. So you guys can do that and stand out in the crowd, because that's what important, right? Standing out in the crowd. So this is what you can do it with this particular gimbal, and it will also help you guys to stabilize it because it's a gimbal. So these are basically my tricks which you can use to make your mobile footages look way more seamless and yes, way more dreamy, way more moody, faster transitions, seamless transitions, lower angle shots, higher angle shots, dreamy looks. But remember, the story is always the king. If the story sucks, all these effects makes no meaning. It will be just a simple montage with all those effects, but it will have no meaning, right? The story is always the king. Make sure the video has some story and then use these particular effects to enhance those stories. So there goes my review for the 510 Gimbal 2 as well. I hope you guys like this particular gimbal. Now here is my final verdict. For the price, you get a very good gimbal because it is like the cheapest one available right now. Now one thing you need to know is there are better gimbals from Firetech as well for a very cheap price. So you guys, if you want a little bit more better stabilization, then you guys can definitely check out the other Firetech models as well, because they will provide a little bit better stabilization than this one because they are costlier than this one. But for the price, for the money, for bang for your buck, this particular gimbal is way worth it. And if you guys ask me that if I should recommend it to you guys, then yes, I will definitely recommend it to you guys. And for its price, and if you guys are on a budget, this gimbal is the way to go. So that is pretty much it. I hope you guys like this particular video. This is Pixel Sammy and I will be back with another tutorial soon. Peace out.